Hello everyone, Adamant MTG once again playing Magic the Gathering Arena and continuing our series in new player quick tips. This video will be, I was going to do deck imports, but I believe because this account has no unlocked decks that we have to actually go through the color challenge. This will be an opportunity to kind of walk through the steps of combat. You've read the articles and maybe you just want to see the demonstration. So I'm going to take the first deck, which is white, and we'll play Keep the Peace, and just kind of walk through the some of the maybe the concepts that you've read about, and I'll show you in practice how they actually work. So we're going to be playing against Chandra Nalar, an actual planeswalker. Pretty cool. Remember that you are a planeswalker. They are coming out very aggressively with their mono red aggro. We're going to drop down. We're going to look at our cards and what we have available. We have a bunch of 2-drop creatures. Because they're monocolor decks, it doesn't matter. The casting cost of this and this are virtually the same. They're exactly the same. They cost 2. However, the reason that Magic designs their cards in these ways are that the Shrine Keeper is 2 white mana, which is of course all we have anyways. But if you were playing a multicolored deck, a Shrine Keeper is harder to cast when you have a white and a red mana. You can still cast the Hallowed Priest, but getting a 2/2 out as opposed to a 1/1 with an ability, kind of interesting. Now you also notice that we have some sequencing to consider. We have the abilities of this card is put a +1/+1 counter on the Hallowed Priest whenever you gain life. So do we have anything to gain life? We do. We have this Impassioned Orator. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield, you gain a life. And this one is just a vanilla creature. There's no text. It's just a 2/2 for 2. So casting cost is important because this is difficult to cast in a multicolor deck. We know that. These cards come out for the same, but you want to sequence them so to get the value, which is to basically leverage your synergy that your deck has. And in this case, we're going to get value by putting counters when we cast this after the Orator. Meanwhile, we have a 2/1 Nest Robber that's attacking us and trying to steal our eggs. We can block, but we don't want to block. We want to get this value, so we're going to just take the damage. Now, with blocking and attacking, sometimes I've noticed a lot of new players just don't really put a lot of thought into it. Put a lot of thought into the math that's continuing to happen. As you see your life total and your opponent's life total, the quantity of creatures they have, and what they're trying to do, which is reduce you to 0, keep in mind that keeping track of that back and forth math is important. When you need to block as opposed to when you want to block are very different times in the world. So we are going to drop this one. We'll gain a life. It'll trigger. It'll put a counter. And then we've got a 2/2. Just like that. Now we don't want to attack because they can triple block us or double block us and kill our Orator. We want the Orator to stay around, so we're not going to attack at all. We don't have to do damage just to do it. We have to pay attention. Oh boy, that's pretty rough. And now we are going to, again, no blocks. I'm going to be patient here because we have a lot of life gain and we have a lot of really powerful cards that gain momentum as we progress in the game. So now that we have another Orator, you're going to see the double stacking of this ability. The first time it'll hit, you'll get life gain. And then when we do another Hallowed Priest, we'll get double triggers. That's the stack. Shows you what's happening. It shows you the order of the triggers. Obviously, it's the same thing, so we just hit done. But it's kind of showing us how these triggers work. If you want to rearrange them on the stack for whatever reason, maybe there's a reason that you want this to happen first and last. But now we have a 5/5. Now the 5/5 can block this thing finally. We can also block with this priest. So I'm going to actually attack because they have most likely no choice but to just take 5 or they lose 1 creature. And they're going to, Now, there's no reason to double block unless, I don't know why they would do that. It's just good old Sparky, or I guess we can call it Chandra Nalar. It shows you the damage. Now, if I wanted to split this damage around, this is the damage allocation or the assignment of damage. For whatever reason, I wanted to do this, and there might be a reason. Right now, there's not. It's always going to just put enough to go lethal. Let's say I had trample, or let's say I didn't want to kill the second cadet for some reason. Maybe there was a trigger or something occurring that I didn't want to kill it. I could do this and do all my damage to one creature. Seems unusual or odd, but there's always a reason. And this comes down to the settings of damage assignment. And this just shows you how it works. So if we're going to assign the damage this way, 1 damage here, 4 here, or we could just do that. It doesn't really matter. Honestly, you just want to kill the things. So the block was odd. I don't understand the block at all. They could have done the same thing with blocking with 1 creature. So that was just a really weird AI option that says we need to block with 2 creatures. Really, really bad play. And we need to point it out. Now, I don't mean to point bad play out. Obviously, I'm not going to hurt Chandra's feelings. If you're playing someone, or if I was playing someone on stream, I would definitely notice that as a really bad block. So you could, of course, troll that person. You could say things like, if my emotes are on, I could say good game, or I could be a mean person. But that's not what we're here to do. We're just kind of pointing out things. So if you would have made that block the same way as Chandra, don't feel bad. I'm not trying to shame anyone for their blocks. I'm just trying to talk about quality Magic, and that means playing the best way that you can. We're getting tons of value with this. This is just a really disgusting combination. And of course, a red deck is like the last thing they want to see is 7/7s and 8/8s. But it sure is fun. Send the big ones in. At this point, now again, they're blocking because they want to block, but that wasn't lethal. So they didn't have to block both of them, but they're going to get a Volcanic Dragon to do some damage, and yeah, that hurts. We'll get some extra land because we need as many as possible, apparently. And then we just swing for... Maybe that's good. Is that lethal? I don't know. Math is for blockers, as they say. We just swing and figure it out. We won. Now, that was, of course, a careless swing. Let's say I was in a precarious situation and had the potential to put blockers out. Obviously, you want to pay attention to the math of the back and forth. But in that case, I was overwhelming my opponent with power. So, you can always use this view battlefield to go back and look at your... If something happened and you don't understand why the game is over and you're questioning it, you can go here. You can look at your graveyard, opponent's graveyard. You can look at your deck, which of course is concealed. The reason this button is interesting, or why you can look at a deck, and is that sometimes there are cards that do things like bury cards at the bottom, or there's a card that says put this back 3 from the top. Those kinds of cards will be revealed in this view. So if I had buried anything, or if my opponent had put anything on the bottom of their library that is knowledge that we have, then we can do that. Once it gets reshuffled into the deck, then it goes back with just a card back. But sometimes the information you can get here is pretty important. You can always zoom in on cards too. You can see what the attacks did, whatever. But it's pretty useful. As you see, higher level players and stuff, they're often looking at their opponent's graveyard and looking at the deck and looking at the available information to make informed decisions. And yeah. So we are 1 match through the color challenge. Gives us a couple of new... Now this is kind of cool. So the deck automatically upgrades. We have these new cards, which it says, do you want to put them in the deck? And I'm going to put that one in the deck for sure. Upgrade the deck or return to collection. I guess it's putting these back because they're kind of vanilla creatures, right? Any creature that just doesn't do anything is much better to have things that have text because they have more options. Vanilla creatures like this are just like, hey, I'm a 2/2 for 2. Not bad, not great, just a thing, just a body. So I'm definitely going to upgrade the deck. Click on that automatically. And there we have a new deck to take on Liliana. Another planeswalker. Death Touch Rats, okay, that's pretty cool. Looks like we have our plan again. We've got Impassioned Orators and Hollowed Priests that won us the game last time. I feel like we're going to try the same plan. Now these rats have Death Touch, which means it doesn't matter how much damage they do. If I block, I die. Wow, so he's going to get very tough. So we're not going to block. Guy's going to get scary the more creatures that die. We have now... This is officially called a Flood. And you have your mana to creature ratio, and you get this much land. You're usually... if you're on my stream, I'm usually saying this is typical. I always get flooded. You will find yourself flooding and not getting enough mana. It's always going to be a challenge. That's what Magic is, though. Don't get too frustrated by it, even though I say that, and you'll hear me tilt on stream pretty often about mana distribution. So, the random number generator that says you have this much land and this many cards in your deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 out of 10 cards that I've looked at so far, 7 of them are lands. That is not the ratio of mana and creatures in the deck, or mana and spells in the deck, I should say. However, that's what the word random means. Not going to give you your ratio. It's going to just do what it does. Alright, so now we get to pump this priest up. We also get to attack. The Cullblade is not scary for us right now because we're not dying. They can't kill it on a block unless they have a spell in their hand, which they might have. Target blocking or blocked creature you control gets +2. This doesn't really do much for us in the sense that these have Death Touch. So let's attack. Nothing to lose here attacking, and we'll just kind of play the game out. Gear Vampire, an old school staple. One of the cooler cards. Manicures, highly recommended for the Sengir Vampire. And now again, we're in the situation where we're taking 2, which is fine. Minimal damage, and I don't want to lose my priest, so we're just going to take it. And now we have some interesting things to do. Now we have 5 mana. We can cast this. This gives a +3/+3 in flying. That sounds fantastic. Because once we get this priest to fly, we could also use this as a trick. No, it's blocking or blocked. So we have to make sure you read the card. That's one of the important things of Magic. Since I don't know these cards very well because I don't use them very often, target blocking or blocked creature you control. So I can't use it to just like kill them. I can use it to if they block only. Kind of a fun combat trick. And if we just attack with the priest, they probably block with the vampire. But this is a kind of a good example of a blocking and attack scheme. There's a couple of things you look at. Number one, you look at their available mana. What could they do? What cards in their hand would have an effect on this combat? Well, because they have all their mana tapped, and there's no current spells in the game that I'm aware of that cost 0, then we know that they can't do anything except what's on the board. What they have to block with is right here. Secondly, what are their blocking options? This says it's a 4/4, so bet bigger than any of my creatures. However, I do have tactical advantage, which makes my creatures +2/+2. If I attack with one of these and they block, then we trade. A 1-for-1 trade, plus I'm spending the card, so that's actually a 2-for-1 for our opponent. This, I have to tap all of my mana, and then they probably don't block because then I have a 6/6 flyer. And they just either take 6 or they block, and that's called a chump block, when they block and they die and my creature survives. So the term chump block would be something they probably did, or they could just eat the damage and then swing in return. So what I'm going to do is, my line of play here is to attack with the priest. If for some reason they double block, then I use the tactics, or tactical advantage, and I kill both creatures. If they block with just the vampire, which they probably will do, because they think I'm attacking with a 3/3, and what kind of idiot would do that? And then I'll make it a 5/5, and it'll die. And again, I'll force a chump block, and my creature lives. Or the other option is, when I attack with this, they say you must have a trick, because why would you attack with a 3/3 and they don't block at all? And then I just do 3 free damage. So those are all the scenarios that I have to deal with. Because I'm at 16, I'm really not concerned with them returning fire. So I think it's fine if they don't block. Let's find out what they do. And I don't want to bring these in because I don't want to trade. I want to get an advantage here. I don't want to just trade a creature for a creature and a spell, because that's negative advantage, right? I lose 2 for 1 here. So that's my attacker. I commit the attacker by pushing the button, and we knew exactly what they were going to do. Very predictable, because it's an AI. Humans aren't predictable. That's why it's fun. The bluffs and the combat tricks and these sort of scenarios, I know I'm going really into deep detail, but it's important because this can make and break Magic games. How you bluff your attacks, what they decide to do, how they respond to your attacks, all that stuff. Just have another Singear Vampire. Okay. Well, now I guess we get to use the reward next. We're going to take 2 again, because we don't want to lose our things. We have another Hallowed Priest, but in this case, I'm just going to drop get a 6/6 flyer on the board, and we will attack with just that. They didn't want to lose their vampire this time, so they just ate it all. Typhoid rats, okay. They're swinging. Again, these attacks are insignificant. 14 life is plenty. 1 life is plenty. All you need to do is survive. You have no cards in hand to do any kind of boosting or buffing, so I wasn't worried about it. Now the math is still in my favor. I've got a couple of creatures. We will do the math to make sure they don't go lethal on us. We don't want that to happen. But at this point, cast that, get more triggers. I think this will be the end of the game for them, since we get more life. See, now we're at 8. We'll do this just to do it. And because they were careless with their blockers and attacked me, they did not leave anything behind to stop the 10/10 flyer. It's about to finish them off. So we'll just go with what we need to go with. And that's it. So those are some of the thought process behind attacking and blocking and combat tricks. Hopefully this is helpful to but if there's so many decisions and thought processes that go into your sequencing of attacks, and even how you cast your creatures in what order. And I'm probably missing stuff. Obviously, we're going to improve the deck again. Let's do it. There's so many tips and tricks, right? The only way to go through them all is to be in the example at the time. So hopefully this is informative for you. Even though this video is a little bit longer than typical quick tips, we'll make this an exception because of the need to go through all of these scenarios. In my opinion, I think it's going to make you a better Magic player. All right, so what do we have? Looks decent enough. Lots of land. I guess that's better than not having enough, but Again, it feels like we're flooding. All right, what do we want to do? We don't have anything really fun. We don't have our combo of amazing creatures that we were getting in the first two games, so we'll have to do it this way. Now, every opponent and every deck has a different, I don't know what you want to call it, a different style or things that the decks do. We already saw that red had a lot of aggressive creatures, black had some death touch. Blue here, we've just got a vanilla 2/1, so we're not really seeing anything interesting from the blue player right now. I'm going to take the damage. I'm not going to chump block. I could chump block. I'm sorry, it's not a chump block. It's a trade. I could take a trade, but I'm going to just get first strike and do it that way. So no attacks. We're going to sit back on first strike and see if they're careless and they don't read our card. And because the AI doesn't know how to read cards, apparently, so Jace, you could yell at him, you could troll him, you could say good game, noob, call him all the names in the world you want. As a matter of fact, Jace deserves to be called names, so feel free. Now here's another sequencing bit. When you are in this mode, and here's our combat track, which we didn't really talk too much about yet. Let's talk about the sequence of combat. You've got your stops that you can put in play based on different things that you might want to do in the combat. So right now I've got the attacker's step, and now we are stopped because it's asking me, do you do anything to the attacker? Do I do anything like cast a spell? I could use a spell that says, you know, kill creature, whatever, attacking creature. This is my window to do that. If I don't want to cast any spells, then I click pass, and now we go to the blocking step. Blocking step says, who do you want to block with? And right now I don't have first strike, so keep that in mind. And I'm waiting to give it first strike at the very end. Now they can always respond with a spell, so we have to be aware that they can do a response here. Right now I'm just going to pick this blocker. It's going to give me an arrow to select who. Obviously blocking that merfolk right there. I'm going to have to click accept on the block. But it is going to stop me automatically after, because it's going to give me an opportunity to cast either tactical advantage or to trigger the ability. And this is a mana cost of 3, which we have 3 mana available. So we're going to say yes to the block. And then it's going to give us another window. Do you want to do anything? Yes, we want to activate the ability. Click on the card. We have first strike. And then we make point and laugh at Jace. We draw more land, because that's what we do here. And we are not worried about first strike now. We're going to drop our other 2/2 and attack. All right. So we've got sort of the combat phase down. A big 4/4 flyer. That's cool and scary. I like it. We've got double striking. Oh, just mere 7 mana for this. Well, good thing we have a lot of mana. We get our 7 drop. Our 7 casting cost 3/3. Not a quality card in most circles. Most Magic players would say, okay. And that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, double strike is neat. It hits like a house with a 6 power, but whenever Goring Ceratops attacks, other creatures you control gain double strike. Okay, that's kind of cool. Everything with double strike and first strike and everything else, sure. I'm down. And now, but that's not coming out till turn 7, so let's wait on that. In the meantime, what do we have here? Tactical advantage. Of course they're going to block us, and the cool thing about this card is that we have enough mana to do both. We can first strike and tactical advantage, so we're not going to lose our creature. We're going to swing. You know they're going to block. We go next. Wait for the blocking scheme. They say, yes, I'm going to block that. Now that we're blocked, we can do this. And now, instead of waiting till combat, we can just get first strike. And we have all the combat tricks needed to win against Jace. And that feels good. Alright, 6. We're almost there. Tap all creatures your opponents control. Creatures you control gain lifelink. It's going to be a fun way to finish this game off. Maybe we should kind of change our pace a little bit. So let's do this. We're going to not cast this. We're going to wait. We're going to get our Ceratops out. Then we're going to cast this, and we're going to go and do a lot of damage. Sounds like fun. Plus, they might attack and clear the way for... Yes, perfect. This is going to be great. It is a lot of air elementals, though. They're pretty powerful, and they fly, so there's no opportunity for us to block at all. We just have to take it. And we will. Alright. Now, I could probably get ahead of myself and do the math and figure out the best strategy of getting them to 0 before we get to 0, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to cast my Goring Ceratops and dare them. What do you got? Ooh, they're going to draw cards. Pretty good. They're going to draw more cards. Put out blockers and swing for 8. All right. 16. That's a big hill to climb. They're going to be lethal next turn. So, this is a sorcery. Let's do the math. We might lose this game, but here's the math. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Double it because of double strike. And not enough. Look at that. Not enough. The math was not in our favor. If only we would have done something differently. I don't know if we could have played it differently because our opponent can't gain life. Let's see here. Oh no, we gain lifelink. I'm sorry. See what I was making fun of Jace for not reading the card. Let's read the card. So the first part of the card says tap all creatures your opponents control. That sounds like a good sentence. We'll do that. The next part of the card says creatures you control gain lifelink until the end of turn. So that's pretty much just we win. So we attack. We have double strike now. Bang, bang, bang. And another. So double strike works that way. You get your first strike, which hits first, your second strike, which hits after that, and we just did 14 damage, not lethal, but we're at 20 life now. Now we'll just cast another creature, and what are they going to do? They're in a pretty tough spot. They have a lot of blockers now, that's pretty interesting. Attacking was a good move. Ooh. Well, maybe we're not in the greatest spot that we're not not in such a good spot anymore. Crazy how this game can turn around. Let's think. They have to block or they die. So all of these creatures are dying, and then they have 8 in return. We're at 12, so I think we're good. I just have to attack with everything and force them to block my dudes. Now, if they were, yeah, they're not able to. They block 2 and let this one in, then they die. They have to block 3. 1, 2, 3. So we're good. Those are my attacks. Wait to see what they do. All of it has double strike. They just don't block at all. I guess that had double strike, so never mind. They had no chance. Sorry to be so bad at Magic. But these planeswalkers are easy. And we're on to upgrading the deck. Take on Vivian. The last one was not the easiest match. Alright, we got a fencing ace. They're pretty cool. Double strike automatically. As you saw earlier, was a fun and cool feature. A 1/6. Wow. Wow. It's a lot of defense. It's a big butt, as they say. The defense of a creature is its butt, and the top part of the creature is its shirt. Shirt and pants, sometimes they call it. Or top and bottom, I don't know what you want to call it. So what do we have here? We do have a tactical advantage, which gives us, with double strike, that makes it a 6/6. So we could just kill this thing. I think we're going to go for that. Go for it. We're going to attack. You know they're going to block because they think they have the advantage. And then we say, aha, you have no advantage. We are now a 3/3 double striker. So that's going to hit it and hit it again. I don't know if I'm just getting lucky with this deck, but I feel like every time our opponent thinks they have something going for them, we just strip it from their... are these set up this way? I feel like it's almost too easy. I can't believe that... I don't know. You'll have to play these tutorials yourself and tell me if you get the same exact draws. I just feel like it seems like too good to be true. Right? I mean, you understand what I'm saying here, right? Having the perfect hand and the perfect cards every time. So Gigantosaurus sounds scary, right? Ooh, I'm so scared. It's a 10/10 for a mere 5 mana. Everyone get excited. And yeah, we'll just... Oh, that's a little bit different. Now we have a hexproof gator. Or crocodile, I suppose. You know what I have? Another tactical advantage. What are you going to do? Block? Hexproof doesn't care about... It cares about pacifism, but it doesn't care about double strike and 3/3. So I made my creature powerful. Double strike is like first strike. Another... Well, you know what? That's fine too. So there's a couple things we can do here, and I think we're going to cast the Angel first. We're not going to do our damage this turn, and we're going to take 10. We're at 20. How bad can it be? I'm not going to block, because I want my full attack at our opponent. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this is lethal because this is 8 points. 8, which is 12 already. We've already got the win. We can just attack. Lethal. It seems easy. Magic is easy. You just draw the cards and you play them and you win. If anyone's having trouble out there not being able to win, I don't know what you need to do. That's easy. Sometimes it doesn't work that way. Sometimes magic isn't as nice to you. But magic is somehow... I don't know. That's why I feel like it's... is this a setup? Is this designed to make me feel good about myself? Because I sure do. My self-esteem is really high right now. And let's take on the final boss. The final boss of the color challenge with the mono white deck. Haven't been threatened yet. Feeling good. I got swagger going on now. I mean, if you're used to my streams, this is not the typical Magic that I play. I play a lot of, oh darn, didn't get the card. My opponents get better cards. Very grumpy. Who's a grumpy monk? What? Is this a real person? Are we facing a real... What? Hold on. I was not prepared to face a real opponent. Who is Grumpy Monk? I'm very confused. What's happening? What's going on? All right, we're gonna go through this and figure it out. I don't know if I have an... Hold on. I'm gonna say hello and see if they say hello back. I'm very afraid that that's a real human. Maybe I should have moused over and read. I don't know what's happening. Okay. We have tactical advantage. They have a flying mana ramp creature. What do I want to do first? First, I want to gain life. We do that. Then I want to attack. They're not going to block, and if they do block, tactical advantage, and I kill their mana creature. They also gain more life, which is going to help for my angel. Everything is wonderful. Tactical advantage has been a wonderful card. Been doing a lot of work. Get more life gain off of the Thornwood Falls, and they have a 2/2. They can spend 8, which seems like a long way away. Make it 10/10. Think. All right. We're going to do this, and I think we're going to do... Let's think about this. Seems great. Okay, we'll go to 25 life. Makes that a 4/4, which we love. And I can attack and trade. We'll keep this back to gain life every time I cast a creature. That's another option. Let's not attack. Instead of attacking, I'm going to keep my life gain creature here because we know how valuable he is when I have different cards. And we'll just try to win in the air, waiting for them to put out a blocker. But a 4/4 angel this early in the game seems like a pretty good card. Now, because they're attacking, again, we have mana open, so I have to worry about combat tricks, so I'm just going to take 2. Does reduce that angel, but that's okay. We'll get it back. Back to 25, and now we attack with both. Now that the coast is clear, they still have 1 available mana, but I'm not worried about a combat trick, although green does have some combat tricks, so I could have lost in that exchange if they had an instant. I guess we probably should talk about like instants and sorceries and all that kind of stuff, but you've probably learned that in the tutorial articles and kind of going through magic. But in order to let you know how that all works, you know, you've got different, let me think here. What are we worried about? Pacifying the flyer. Yeah, I'm gonna do this and swing with everything. Seems like we're getting a lot of value there, so. And now we can just go wide with the War Leader. An amazing card. Sure, they have a 6/5 out. This is pacified. They only have 2 blockers, and even at the minimum, we're winning the game by just attacking. But we got a pacifism anyways because Magic loves us. It wants us to win. Decisively. Well, that was the mono white color challenge. Seemed to be very, I don't know what. Look at that. We got our, that card was worthwhile, so that we get a cosmetic, we get experience points, we get a big pile of gold, and we also have some wild cards. So this is how you build your collection up as you go through. Claim the prizes. And let's take a look at something real quick. Back at the it tells you your rewards. I wish I knew if that was a real human being. White versus question mark. Play against another player. Wow. No one knows who it will be. That was neat. I didn't know what to expect. I felt like nervous inside. I have butterflies when I realized it was another potential human being, and I didn't read this. So what I want to check though is let's go back to the homepage, and because we are casting, yep. So here, sure enough, the playing of this color challenge will get you through your first quest line. So we had to play 40 lands. We apparently played 33 of them. So that's kind of fun. And now we have red, black, and red and blue. So if we play our red deck next in the color challenge, we'll be completing more quest lines. And as I said in the very first video, you want to do this to gain your gold and make sure you do these dailies every single day. So when you're starting out, this is going to be where you start building your collection. And as you could see, every time I advanced through the color challenge, it unlocked cards. And we'll talk more about importing decks and looking at your collection in another video. This one was just designed to kind of, I wanted to unlock one of the decks. And now that we have that unlocked, we should be able to play it. See, now we can play Keep the Peace on the ladder or wherever we want. But hopefully you had some of the moments were teachable moments. I definitely learned a lot about how to play Magic and how to read cards, because just when you think you have it all figured out, your brain takes shortcuts and makes assumptions, and that's sort of what happens in Magic. It's going to happen throughout your journey. And another really cool benefit of Magic the Gathering, despite that it's just a children's card game, the ability to be focused and read thoroughly and make decisions based on information that's there is a skill that you'd be surprised how many people don't have. If you're in the corporate world, or just communicating in general through emails or text messages, the amount of detailed information that just gets missed or not included and assumptions are made is wow. If we get that figured out, the world would be such a better place. So use what you learn in Magic, take it into your life. When you text someone and say, hello, that's pretty open-ended. But if you're like, pick me up, where are you? What do you mean? Who's this? Like, pick me up, I'm at the mall. Pick me up at 2:00 at the mall front entrance. Pick me up at 2:00. I'll be wearing a red shirt at the mall entrance on the south side. So things like that, detailed information, it's important. Be good to yourselves, be good to each other. Write complete text messages and emails. Include all the information. Pretend you're designing a Magic card. And also read the card, know your phases, and have fun in Magic the Gathering Arena. Until next time, take care.